It stinks! This whole place stinks!
In the early 1960s, the state of New Jersey began planning the dualization of Route 33 between Hightstown and Manalapan to 2 lanes in each direction. Part of those plans also included a nearly 7-mile, 4-lane freeway bypass of Freehold to the south.
Traffic congestion in downtown Freehold has long been the most serious in the western Monmouth region, and a system of bypasses encircling the borough has been called the only solution to the problem. The first such bypass has been proposed by the State Highway Department. Plans call for a new section of Route 33, which would leave the present route at about 1,500 feet east of Millhurst Road and swing south of Freehold Township, rejoining the present route near Jerseyville, Howell Township.
Construction on the freeway was set to begin in the mid-1960s, but bickering over the alignment of the bypass in the vicinity of Routes 9 and 79 caused delays that went on for years. Some residents and Monmouth County officials didn't want any bypass at all, but instead insisted the state build a new expressway between Trenton and Belmar with a spur that would pass to the east of Freehold to the Route 18 freeway near Eatontown.
At the first public hearing on Route 33, held on February 13th of 1965, Monmouth County officials presented an alternate plan, calling for an east-west toll road from Trenton to the Belmar area, with a connecting spur to Route 18 just east of Freehold.
Ultimately, the state went ahead with plans to construct the bypass, but another roadblock lay ahead: ShopRite. State engineers planned to construct an embankment on the southern edge of the shopping center freeway so that overpasses could be constructed over Routes 9 and 79. The Saker family, which owned the ShopRite, protested the freeway intrusion and used their power and influence to try and alter the plans of the Highway Department. They managed to persuade the governor of New Jersey and the Transportation Commissioner to visit the site and presented their own plans for a viaduct over Routes 9, 79 and their shopping center.
On August 24, 1970, Governor Cahill and Transportation Commissioner John C. Cole visited the site and conferred privately with Joseph Saker. After the meeting, Mr. Cole revealed the Sakers would submit engineering plans to place the freeway on an elevated structure to minimize the impact on the shopping center and ShopRite properties.
Frustrated by the years-long stalemate between the Saker family and the state, the mayor of Freehold began speaking out, claiming the delays would only add on to the cost of the freeway.
Late last summer, a year after Cahill's visit, Freehold Mayor J. William Boyle, like Cahill, a Republican, blamed the governor and private interests for the delay. He said the stalling over the years increased the project's cost by $1 million.
Mayor Boyle of Freehold Borough also inferred that companies like ShopRite purposely conspired with the governor and the transportation director to purposely delay the bypass, knowing land values in the area were on the rise.
The resolution noted that since 1964, private interests opposed to the dualization of Highway 33 in Freehold Township, which made it possible for land values to go up in prices in those 6 years, which the taxpayers of the state of New Jersey will have to pay. It also stated that after the federal government approved the design and rights-of-way in 1970, the governor intervened on behalf of property owners who profited by the 6-year delay.
Shortly after the Freehold mayor spoke out, the Transportation Commissioner announced that the state would begin condemnation proceedings and were prepared to take the necessary property of the shopping center to construct the Route 33 embankment. A few years later, it was revealed that Governor Cahill, Transportation Director Cole, and high-level DOT officials retaliated against the DOT Director of Design, Wallace J. Schonwald, for not approving the more expensive viaduct option on behalf of the Saker family's wishes. Mr. Schonfeld's position at DOT was abolished. He was then demoted and his pay was reduced. After years of delays and controversy, funds were secured by the end of 1973, and construction on the long-awaited bypass finally began in 1974. By late 1975, the freeway project was completed to Route 79. The state managed to build 4 miles of freeway, and then they ran out of money. Traffic on the bypass was dumped back onto local streets to continue to points east. Borough residents suffered from the traffic and increased air pollution. A decade passed until funding became available to advance the bypass another 1.3 miles from Route 79 to Halls Mills Road. The project began in 1985 and was completed by late 1988.
The $14.6 million project, whose completion was celebrated yesterday, began 3 years ago and connects the 4-lane divided highway from the intersection of Routes 9 and 79 to Halls Mills Road, a temporary terminus until the rest of the road is completed.
Another 5 years would pass until talks began of finally finishing the bypass. However, after discovering a bog turtle habitat, the Department of Environmental Protection held up the extension for 2 years, eventually forcing the state to acquire an additional 14 acres to avoid the turtles. After nearly 4 decades from conception, the final 2 miles of the Freehold Bypass opened in January of 2003. However, upon a final inspection, it was discovered that a ramp leading from the bypass to Howell Road was deemed unsafe. From the apex of the overpass, vehicles on Howell Road wouldn't have enough time to react if a car were to pull out from the ramp. Lowering the speed limit or installing a traffic light was considered, but traffic counts were too low. To remediate the contractor's error would have cost taxpayers an estimated $1.7 million. Demolishing it would have cost $100,000. Officials decided to barricade the ramp. This last stretch of bypass is awkward, to say the least. It's a divided highway, but only a single lane is provided in each direction. Some of the bridges are wide and hint at a future widening, while some others are not wide enough to accommodate an additional travel lane. Despite its shortcomings, at least they finished it. If you made it this far, please consider subscribing to my humble Road Geek channel. We'll see you soon.